We have a giant collection of Warhammer 40k miniatures. It's taken 18 years to amass the number of models you see. Countless lifetimes of passion and energy have gone into assembling and painting these armies. But there's one important reason why we must keep our collection in spite of these difficult times. MiniWarGamer Dave here from MiniWarGaming.com, and before we dive into the showcase of this beautifully detailed collection, we need to solve some problems. Actually, to be more concise, we need to solve three. The first of which started back in 2007 when Matt and I started MiniWarGaming, this very YouTube channel that you're watching right now. The YouTube channel that promoted the miniature painting hobby and playing games of Warhammer. See, Matt, he's my oldest friend. I've known him since I was 5, and we grew up together. He introduced me to tabletop games and RPGs. One of my first memories with him was he destroying me and my 80-ton assault mech in a game of BattleTech we played on his kitchen table. The joy on his face was unforgettable. He's always been so good at games, which is why he was Dungeon Master in my first game of fighting fantasy when I was trying to escape the evil Lord Asmodeus, but encountered a fearsome griffin atop the tower. One hit and I'd be lucky to be alive, but in critical condition. But it was a vivid realization that this was exactly where I needed to be. Fast forward back to 2007 when we faced our first problem. The challenge was to make our business successful. And what business was that? Well, we had a brick and mortar store where we sold Warhammer miniatures, and we quickly learned most of our sales came from online orders. We discovered this by making videos that promoted the store. Seemed simple. Make videos that showcase miniatures and people will buy them, right? Not so simple. And definitely not something to leave our full-time jobs for. Back then, I was a landscaper and I saw where this path would take me. A crippled body. My dad worked as a bricklayer for 50 years, which is good, honest work, but it took a toll on his body. I didn't want the same thing for myself, so I asked Matt if he wanted to start a business with me, and it was he that suggested we sell miniatures, probably due to the fact that we had fun playing Games Workshop's Lord of the Rings. Because, you know, back then, that's when we'd play on my coffee table in my apartment. We had no terrain, which is why we used candlesticks and a box of Ferrero Rocher as terrain pieces, just to give a little bit more elevation and cover. That was always the forces of darkness, and he was the heroes, and he beat me every time. But that's fine. I still had a lot of fun playing with him. That was the point, right? And after we started making videos, promoting the store, it seemed fine, but there were a couple occasions when he said to me, "You know what, Dave? We aren't making money with this, so we should probably stop." At the time, he had an internet marketing business, so he would be fine without it. But for me, the alternative was not an option. So I told him, I'm good to press on even though the store wasn't making any money. And were it not for my wife, Farah, who worked full-time as a nurse and supported me and made it so we could eat, I would not have been able to continue making videos on MiniWarGaming. Because at first it was just me making videos. It wasn't until the 29th video posted on the channel that Matt decided to be in videos. He saw how much fun I was having, so he just wanted to participate in it. I mean, I get why he didn't want to do it at first. He had a legit business teaching people how to make money online. And if they saw him goofing around playing games on a YouTube channel, I don't know if they would have taken him seriously, or at least that was his logic. But that logic quickly went out the window when he saw how much fun I was having. So he joined. It was great, even though at first we didn't have the die cube as our logo. We had the Balrog with Times New Roman as our logo. It was the best. It didn't matter how much fun we were having though, because eventually there was a third conversation where Matt said, "Dave, do you really want to continue this? Like, I know it's fun, but we need to be practical here. The store needs to make money for us to continue." We could have ended it right then and there, but there was something inside that told me that we needed to press on. Call it a gut feeling, call it what you will, but ultimately we pressed on. No, Matt, anything but landscaping. It doesn't matter. This has to work. I'm telling you, it's okay. Let's go forward. Then just as we thought there was no hope of continuing our store, as fate would have it, we ran a sale and the community responded with support. Some of you have been watching since that time, so you might remember the mountain of Warhammer products we had to ship out as a result of that sale. It was incredible. We did more sales in a week than we had for the entirety of our business leading up to that point. This gave us the confidence to press on. And as I continued to focus on hobby content and Matt started diving into gameplay, this is when on May 29th, 2008, we posted our first battle report. It was a slideshow of Matt's Tyranids versus Death Guard. But it wasn't me that battled him. It was a member of our Welland Warhammer club. We quickly realized that having a gaming club fast-tracked our way to showcasing more armies on the channel. And by showcasing more armies, we could sell more armies in our store. This enabled us to expand our armies to represent more factions in our videos. Content exploded on the channel. More gameplay videos, more Tactica videos, army showcase videos. Things were going great until this happened.
Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and by now you may or may not have already heard about the new trade updates between Games Workshop and retailers in North America.
In short, Games Workshop changed their policy so much so that we could no longer sell their products on our web store online. This essentially shut down our business.
Are you kidding me? After all that hard work, that hope, and that triumph, it didn't matter because Games Workshop changed their policy for independent retailers, which is what we were. Being a store in Canada, we were no longer permitted to sell outside of the country. The major problem with that was the majority of our customers were from the US, and to make matters worse, we could only do mail order through a 1-800 number on the website and had to disable our online shopping cart. Who here remembers calling a 1-800 number so that a store clerk can physically walk down an aisle and place items in a basket and ship them out to you in real time? Say aye. And after Matt made the video announcing the fact that we had to close the store and we were likely going out of business because that's how catastrophic the situation was, we were left with no other options. However, at this point, we had started the MiniWarGaming Vault, which is where members of the community could watch exclusive videos and hobby tutorials on our website. For context, this was before Patreon existed and before Netflix evolved from the DVD mail order service that it was into the streaming titan it is today. Our MiniWarGaming Vault was in its infancy, but was it enough promise to compensate for our store closing? So we were transparent about our situation. We told you what was up and encouraged your support. What happened next could only be described as miraculous. It makes sense now, but at the time, we didn't realize just how important the MiniWarGaming Vault community would become. It's impossible to place a value on a community, and that's exactly what we are. The thought of closing wasn't an option in many people's minds, so the support came exactly when it was needed. And it was at this moment that the foundation of MiniWarGaming was laid. It wasn't the products we were selling, but it was the celebration of fun we had through the videos that had the greatest impact on why people joined us as Vault members. Which brings us to solving our third problem. Due to the outpouring of support from all of our Vault members, this enabled us to produce over 100 narrative campaigns and thousands of battle reports for many years to follow. This allowed us to grow our collection of miniatures through the additions of Warhammer 40k. And because we like variety when we cover a game, we like to represent every possible faction. Take example, playing Horus Heresy. It's not enough to collect the Sons of Horus and the legions of infantry that are contained therein. Any good and honest collector knows we've also got to include all the vehicles and the flyers and the speeders with all of the war gear options. But even this isn't enough to accurately represent the universe that's being depicted on the tabletop. We need to apply the same treatment to all of the factions, which is why Matt grew his salamanders with all their flamers and meltas and awesome vehicles as well. And Space Wolves, surely the Sons of Rust need to be represented too, because they have unique units that you can only get if you play Space Wolves. And what about the Blood Angels? Because there's a difference between an Ultramarine and a Blood Angel. I mean, for starters, one's blue and one's red. But that doesn't matter because ultimately you still gotta collect them all, and as wargamers, we understand this. We are a particular breed of human that appreciates minute detail and timelines. Color schemes are significant. Marks of armor are important according to the time frame that's represented. War gear selected and modeled plays a crucial role in the immersive experience of playing a game of Warhammer 40k. And because this is so important, so are the enemies of the Imperium. If chaos truly reigns, then that threat needs to be represented on the tabletop in a serious manner, manifested through the rich variety of armies that are included in all of the Heretic Astartes, World Eaters, Death Guard, Thousand Sons, Emperor's Children. They all have their place, but the same goes for the Xenos armies too. A green tide is only a green tide if there's a sea of them. But the greatest threat to humanity has gotta be the Great Devourer, which by all accounts is a massive gaping jaw about to eat the entire galaxy. And they are none other than the Tyranids, the Endless Swarm, the bugs that scale from a microscopic to a galactic order. And to see them displayed on a tabletop is as impressive as it is immersive. To detail every single miniature in our collection and give each its proper attention would take thousands of hours. The amount of artists that have spent their time and talent and skill to paint these to a tabletop standard is staggering. So the idea of possibly selling our collection because we've fallen on difficult times is the same to me as deciding to close the store all those years ago. Times change, challenges exist, inflation creeps up, life moves on, but for many of us, wargaming is life. Engaging in the hobby of painting miniatures and playing tabletop games is one of the most significant things we spend our time on. Feeling the nostalgia of playing older editions of Warhammer is important now more than ever. It's what got us into the game in the first place. And we've noticed a lack of content that supports this. Many Vault members have said they'd love to see older editions and narrative campaigns played using these older editions. This makes a lot of sense since it's what defined the Vault in the first place. So in light of this, we've decided to use our collection to create more of this nostalgic content instead of selling the armies themselves. If you've supported us in the past as a MiniWarGaming Vault member, or you've wanted to support us, but haven't done so yet, now is the time to become an official member of the community. Your Vault membership is the key for us to make content and continue the legacy we started 18 years ago. With enough community support, we'll solve the third problem we face. Production costs have increased, so it's practical that you close down the studio and sell off your armies to pay for the bills. And to that I say, we're not done yet. There are more games to be played. Like the recent Banter Batrep I filmed with Matt, where I pit my Black Legion up against his Tyranids in a classic matchup of Warhammer 40k 7th edition rules. Or the Gorka Morka campaign where Luca, Josh, Skari all careen and crash through wacky scenarios which Matt has prepared. And then you've got a classic Deathwatch narrative campaign which takes place on the agri world of Perdition, with the Eldar showing up, and the Deathwatch has been called in to make contact, secure the planetary governor, and possibly gift wrap him for the Inquisition. All of this great content is available to MiniWarGaming Vault members. It's in there right now, and it's recently filmed, just waiting for you to engage with it. So sign up as a Vault member, support the fun in the games that you love to see, and we will continue moving forward to celebrate the legacy that got us here. And for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, thank you for joining us on this ride. And we look forward to many more years to come. I'm MiniWarGamer Dave, and I say, happy wargaming.